I'm Nejc Hodnik, I'm BJJ and Judo black belt and also reigning JJF European champion. We're gonna look at 4 situations in this series. First is going to be front body lock, then it's going to be rear body lock, and in the end we're gonna go to the ground where we're gonna look back position when the opponent is on his belly. So let's take a look at the first part. Okay, let's see this again. So when we cover our distance and get into front body lock position, we have to be aware of 2 most important parts. I want to control his lower part of body and upper part. Lower part in this case is his hip. The upper part is his chest or his armpits. So when I'm here, I wanna pull his hips towards me and push with my head in, and also with my knee. If you see there's a chance that he will punch you, you can block and cover your head with your elbow. So we have 3 different grips. One is the 4-finger grip, is the most mobile and also easier to use if you have bigger subjects. Then is also the palm-to-palm grip. This is a bit tighter and has more control but less mobile. And the final is the butterfly grip. This is the tightest but also the least mobile. I'm not lifting him up. This is the most common mistake. So I'm pulling him towards me, I'm pushing with my head, and now I also push with my knee, and when I feel he's falling, I just step over and now. Okay, let's look at how other guys do it and troubleshoot. Okay, when Luka entered into the front body lock, what he did a little bit wrong. So he didn't put enough weight with his head, and he was also rotating him too much. Yeah, so you don't need to rotate him, you wanna pull him towards you. And the next big thing that we usually make wrong here is that we are trying to lift him and rotate at the same time. Okay, Marco is almost same size as Luka, and Luka is a pretty strong guy, so he can manage. But let's say Marco is much bigger, yeah, then it's gonna be a problem. So Luka has to pull more towards with the hips and push more with his head. And the last part that we usually forget is this leg. You don't need to pull his leg out or use some kind of sweep. It's enough just to bend his knee and lay on top of him. So when Luka goes for the finish, he pushes, bends the knee and step over. In the second chapter, we're gonna go through rear body lock position. So let's go and take a look at the second part. Come with me. Okay, let's look at another scenario. So we were in front body lock position. I'm trying to off balance him, but he's resisting. He's pushing his hips away. So how do we get in rear body lock? First, I will use my legs so I get more momentum to push him forward, and I'll also use my shoulder. So I point my toes out and I do a really long step behind. And at the same time, when I'm doing the long step, I'm pushing with my shoulder. So point your toes out and do a long step. You are behind his back. When we are in rear body lock position, we have to be aware of one really common mistake. This mistake is that we put our head on the outside. Here, opponent can do a headlock. He can even punch me. Maybe he can try to bite me. So I don't want to be here in rear body lock. I want to have my ear on his back. Here, it's much harder for him to punch me. Maybe he can try with elbows, but I can also cover my face with my elbow. And it's easier for me to push, to use my weight against him, to push him down. So I have the rear body lock, I'm pushing, and now I will block his knee with my knee. And we will go diagonally to take him down. So push, block the knee, and follow him to the ground. Use your knee on the back and control. So the first part is the step through. I use my both legs and my shoulder. We push. We get behind his back and we are aware that our ear is on his back. Once we are here, we're pushing with our whole weight, blocking the knee and following him to the ground. Okay, let's see guys do it and troubleshoot. Okay, so what happened? When Marco was in front body lock and he tried to do the step through, he did one really common mistake. He went with the head around, look. So he didn't use his shoulder. What he should have done is push more with his shoulder and rub his body here. Yeah, you don't want to go with one ear to the other, just push him forward. Then he got to the rear body lock and he tried to take him down, but look what he did. He stepped too much in front. This is dangerous for your leg, and also you don't block him in the right way. What you want to do is be on this line, on the outside, and just block with the knee, or even get your knee higher, hit from the ground, and then push him down. And once they were falling, Marco fell over him because he didn't let go at the right moment. So when he feels he's falling, he can just follow him to the ground. Okay, let's look at one easy trick how we can use this technique with a partner. Luca will be my partner and Mare will be the bad guy.
Hey buddy, focus on me. We need you to calm down.
In third chapter, we're gonna look at a situation when our opponent is on his back and we're gonna learn knee on belly position. Let's go and take a look at knee on belly position. Okay, so now we have our subject on the ground and let's look at what we can do from here. When we pass his legs, we will use the knee on belly position. So I wanna go over his waist. I don't want to have my knee on his chest because I have less control here. If he wants to move, it's easier for me to fall down. Also, it's a bit dangerous to put too much pressure on his chest to injure him. I also don't want this to happen. I want to have my knee over his waist. Once I'm here, I can easily control him. Even if he moves pretty hard, I can just surf on him. And the second part is my left leg. So my right leg goes over, my left leg needs to be slightly bended. So I don't want to have my knee on the floor because I'm not mobile. If he wants to move and I want to change my direction, it's hard to do from here, okay? And if I have my leg too much straight, I'm also not mobile. So I want to be slightly bended. Why is also knee on belly a good position? Because of positional awareness. So if I see something strange going around, it's super easy to disengage and protect myself. So here I'm safe. He can also try to punch me, but I'm pretty high, so it's hard for him to reach my head. I also have hands to protect. And last part is, like I said, I can use my hands. The best way is to put them on the head. But where should I put my hand? I don't want to cover his mouth. When I have my hand on the side, I push his head this way. Why? Because now he will usually protect himself by pushing my hand away. Now I will grab with the other hand and push over his head. Now I can use this, rotate him around. So I'll just push the knee. I can go even under and start rotating him until he goes on his belly. First part, we go with our knee over his waist. We slightly bend our leg so we can surf on him. I put my weight a bit backwards on my heel. This is easier for me. I feel more comfortable here. So if he's moving too much, I want to change directions where I'm positioned. I can put my hands on his shoulders or on the floor. Now I will shift my weight. I put my left knee on him, change legs to the other side, and then put the knee on belly position on this side. And now I can start turning him around from here. So I control the head, he resists, I grab the hand and push over his head. If I cannot use this to rotate, I can go also with my hand under his head and start rotating him this way. But what do I do with my knee? I don't want to push too hard when I start rotating, because then he gets stuck. So when I start rotating him, I'm following him slightly with my knee, because now if he decides to turn back, I can push and block him. And now I follow until he turns on his belly. Now I can work from here to get his hands behind and arrest him. Okay, let's see the guys do it and troubleshoot. Okay, let's look what they did. So, first of all, Mare's knee was too high. So he didn't have good control, and it was much easier for Luka to turn. So what Mare wants to do is to go here with his knee. He also needs to sit a little bit back. And his hand was over his mouth. He doesn't want to have this. It was also not the right one. He wants to go with the left hand on the side, because we were rotating him there, away from us. Yeah, don't put your fingers over, go like here, on the side. Now when Luka is pushing, he will just transition with the hand and put it over. Yeah. And the final part, he used also the legs to rotate and follow with the knee. The last part, look, he went straight to back mount. What if Luka does a push-up, fast push-up, look, and Mare will fall over. So we don't want to go straight to the back. He needs to finish here. If Luka goes to push up, he can just disengage and go for some other control to get him back. Here we're gonna look at the situation when our opponent is already on his back. So we're gonna learn knee on back position, how we can control from here. Let's go. Now we have our subject on his belly. So why is good to understand what's going on? Because if I have a good understanding of what's going on with his body, it's much easier for me to work. Because in a fight scenario, there's a lot of stress and usually we get tunnel vision. But if I understand what's going on, it's easier for me to work. So if he wants to go up, he needs to do like a push-up. So he needs to get his elbows close to the body to get his upper body up. If you look at his legs, he also needs to bend his legs. You see? And now he can go up. So if I understand these two things, it's much easier control. If I just put my knee on top of his knee, it's much harder for him to move now. If you want to use his legs, I don't need a lot of energy to control him. If I just lay on top of him, I will fall over as soon as he goes to the push-up. So one simple solution to control everything is to hook his legs and to wait for his elbows. When he goes to the push-up, I'm ready to go to extract his hands and get them behind the back. So this is one simple solution. He cannot use the knees, and also when he goes for the push-up, I'm ready here. So I'm controlling his elbows and it's super easy to extract the hand. But it's a bit harder for me to go away if something's going around in the environment. So maybe a bit better solution is to use the knee on back position. So I want to go over here where his belt is. Now I will also control his head, because he needs to put his head up to start going into the push-up position. Now I know he just has one option, to get his elbows to his chest, and now he can go up. So because I know that, I'm just waiting. When he does that, I go in, pinky to pinky, start rotating and extract his hand. Now when I have one hand, it's safer for me to go on the rear mount. Also, if I feel I can already take this hand behind, now I can mount him. I wanna push my knees in. Why is that? Because I don't need to use my hands to keep his hands here. If I'm too low, he can easily take his hands out. But if I have his hands behind, now I push my knees in, I can go for the cuffs and cuff him, and it's super hard to get his hands out. So let's look again at the step. I go over with my knee, so I have good control here. I'm waiting him to do a push-up. When he goes, I go pinky to pinky, grab. Now I use my elbow to rotate and get his hand out. So there are different scenarios that can happen here. The best is that I'm just waiting for him to do a push-up, but sometimes they can hide their hands, yeah? This is a bit more difficult, but you have to be aware that you have time. You're tiring him out, and with time you will get the hand out. He has just for a certain amount of time to hold, yeah? So one way to get the hand also out is to push his head away to get the elbow away from the body. So I'm not punching him, I'm just going down, pushing away and going in with the wrist. One different way is also to go under the face, push it out, and now go in with the hand. Yeah. So once I grab the wrist and I feel I cannot do the pinky to pinky technique, I grab my own wrist. I put my right shoulder on him and start rotating. Now I'm using the whole body to get his hand out. Now I just pull it back and go into the same position. So that's one other option how we can get the hand out if he's really resisting. We can also use this technique with a partner. That's even better. Like we mentioned before, we are looking at his elbows and his knees. So when I do the knee on back position, maybe one bad thing about this is I'm not controlling that good legs. If my partner Luca goes over with his knee and controls the hips, now it's much harder for Mare to use his legs. And I can go over, control the hand, and just wait for him to go to the push-up. If he doesn't go, we have different options how to extract the hand and then with the other one. I will also talk with him because if I want to rear mount, he will move slightly away and then I will be able to extract the other hand. But my partner will always control his knees. Yeah, we have different options, but this will prevent Mare to use legs to go up. And now I can just focus on his hands and that's it. Okay, let's look at a few things that are going on here in this position. So one thing that we need to understand in law enforcement, usually there's no time. So when you are outside trying to arrest somebody, you're not in a competition. So you don't have to arrest him in 3 seconds. You can take time to tire him out. If you're here, you're talking with him. First, you want to talk with him. Maybe he will give you the hands. If not, then you can go with the force, yeah? But take your time. These are good positions when you can tire your opponent. He's carrying your weight, so take your time. The other part, talk with your partner, what he can help you. Maybe he needs to control the legs. Maybe you're controlling his body good, but he needs to extract the hand. Because one really common thing is that people will hide their hands inside and just be stiff here, yeah? Here we need a little bit more time to get the hands out, but it's still possible. One solution that I already showed is to go with your elbow on the floor and push his head away. This will help you to get his elbow a bit out and give you more space to go for the hand. If he's still too strong to use pinky to pinky, you can go with both hands, walk around and get the hand out. So there are options always to do, but we need to understand what he's doing and don't rush too much because you are tiring him out here, yeah? So take time, talk with your partner, and of course watch the surroundings. If somebody is making problems around, you can still disengage and try again, but be aware of his hands, yeah? And try not to use punches, talk with your subject. Usually maybe they'll just put the hands away and it will be easier. If not, you have techniques to get the hands out. So maybe one most common problem is that they don't go to push up, they're just holding here. But you can still make space to get the hand inside, yeah? So you go with elbow, you grab, and now Luca can grab also with his other hand, rotate and take the hand back. So I hope you like the series and you learned something new. See you at the next one and keep training.